Hey guys, welcome back. Tisha here, back for another Love and Marriage DC review. I am over this. I am. And this is going to be really quick, probably because there wasn't much to say because it's the same stuff over and over again. If there is something that I leave out that you would like to discuss, please feel free to put it down below. I'm a little confused about this whole Winter and Yusha situation. I saw a recent interview that she did with Color Me Pink on YouTube. I'll try to link the interview down below if I remember. But she basically stated some of the reasons why there were some things going on behind the scenes with her and Yusha that were causing her to react the way that she did. I kind of feel like some of it is an excuse because she didn't know until after all of this was filmed. But I'm going to link it below and you all tell me what you think about it, because I'm looking at Winter on this and I don't quite understand what her issue is based on what we're seeing currently on television. But we begin this episode with Joy and Winter meeting up at Half Smoke. I've been there before. It was before the pandemic. My friends and I had a great time. Love the concept. Love how they incorporated some old school things with some new school things. It was a vibe. We went for brunch on a Sunday. It was a really good time. So when I saw it, I was like, oh, Half Smoke. That's Black owned. Cool. But they're there to discuss what happened at the ski trip. It's clear that Joy is unhappy with the way that things went down and the way that Winter, who was supposed to be neutral in this situation, just sat there while everyone kind of ganged up on her and while the people were coming down on her. Joy feels like her boundaries were not respected. And I have to agree with Joy. They weren't. Whether you like her or not, you can't go most of the trip with trying to avoid speaking to her to then when this intuitive reader healer comes in, then all of a sudden you want to come down on her because of what that person is doing. It wasn't right. She says that when she stated that she didn't feel like it was a safe space to talk about certain things, then Winter's friend chimed in and said a bunch of false statements. Now, by Winter's friend, she's talking about Black. I don't understand why she couldn't just say his name, especially because she was so offended when he said, spoke of her without saying her name. All of them at this point are being childish to me. Winter claims that she's not trying to get into the middle of them because she has a good relationship with Black and she does not dislike Joy. Based on the way that she was acting, though, and how she was so bothered by the way Yusha was responded, I would think that she didn't like Joy, because being in the middle of it doesn't mean that you have to feel a way about your man not having the same exact opinion of it as you. Being in the middle of it would have meant that you would have just been sitting there, maybe trying to de-escalate the situation, rather than once she was no longer in your face, speaking ill of her, because that's what she did. And by doing that, I feel like she took a side. Joy says that Black can paint himself to be a zebra when what she's seen as a donkey. But that's really easy for Winter to see him that way because Winter does not know him the way that she does, because she's had different experiences with Black. At this point, I feel like what Joy is saying is fair, but this happening so long ago makes me wonder why this is something that we're still currently discussing. Winter then talks about how Yusha said that Joy had a reason to respond the way that she did, and how him saying that and him kind of, saying certain things made Winter frustrated. Joy says, I did have a conversation with Yusha, and he did tell me, that, he was sorry that happened and that he kind of sees me. Winter said that she did not even know that Yusha reached out to Joy, and she has a problem with that. I feel like this show is leaving out a lot, because even in that explanation, she didn't say, well, how did he reach out to you? Did he call you? Did he DM you? Anything of that. Later on now, Yusha makes it seem like it was a conversation that they had, but I wasn't clear on whether it was on the phone, in person, DM. I'm not sure. Not that it much matters. He just wanted to make her feel like she was seen. But Winter is bothered by that. And I guess if you feel like, how did you get her number or something of that sort, or why wouldn't you tell me that you reached out? Maybe she does have a slight reason to be bothered by it, but I didn't think in that moment that Yusha was trying to be sneaky or disrespectful or conniving. We then see at Ashley's house, she's invited Sherelle, Raina, and Winter to come over to do art therapy. They're doing what she's calling fluid pour art, which she takes a cup and she puts different colors, like 3 different colors in the cup, and then she pours it out over an object. They had wooden circles, and as you pour it in the middle, you then move the object in different directions for the paint to flow. I actually want to try it. I'm going to try to talk my man into doing it with me because it looks like something fun. They're doing it. It looks relaxing. They then discuss how Ashley is going to be having her book signing and that it's going to be open to the public. She's going to be inviting her nieces and her sisters, but she has not heard from her mother, so she does not know if her mother is going to come. She says that since the episode aired, her mother hasn't talked to her, that she reached out to her and her mother isn't responding to anything. And her mother, I guess, has a problem with that clip and what was said about their dynamic. Listening to the conversation that Ashley had in the previous season with her mother, I don't see this being an easy fix. I see this as being something where Ashley is going to have to create healthy boundaries because it doesn't seem like her mother wants to acknowledge what she has done. She wants to either say she didn't do it or hurry up and move past it. But Ashley is still dealing with the issues from that. And I think that's kind of why Ashley latches on the way she does with certain friendships and why she seems to have such a demand, because Ashley very much so has mommy issues. Excuse me. That's good. Ooh, that's real good. She thinks her mom is embarrassed because now everything is public. Sherelle let her know that she's proud of her for expressing herself the way that she has. And she lets her know, like, if you need anything, I can be here for you. Ashley gets a little touched by it, says that she doesn't want to cry because she's a gangster. I said it on other reviews. I think being willing to show your emotions and show that vulnerability is far more gangster than any of the other stuff that people deem as gangster. It makes you even more of a boss to me. She agrees to now be a sensitive gangster. Winter asks if the Cliftons are coming, and Raina's like, you mean the Pettys? Raina says in confessional, I'm going to make a note of that because they're supposed to be building a relationship, and that's how she talks. She talks differently about the situation when she's in front of her friends. Does Winter do that? Yes, I have to agree with Raina. But I hate that Raina carries bones to everybody the way that she does, because she didn't really call her out too much on it there. She said something about it, but she kind of glossed over it. Whereas in confessional, she had more to say. And one of the problems with this group is that when they relay messages, that they leave certain things out, the same way that Raina left out what was said by Ashley when they were at the house. She just has a tendency to leave out key parts. Not Raina. Raina was supposed to tell her that Ashley said that she they had a really good time. They're really happy right now, and she'd rather wait until they get back home to discuss it. And that's not the way that Raina delivered it, even though she was wrong to have that girl sitting out there all the time. So she adds, Raina does, that you got to keep your eye on Winter, and she gonna watch Winter. Ashley says that when Joy wanted to talk to her out there, that she was then expecting for Joy to reach out to her once they got back, and that it has been a little over a week at that time and she hadn't heard from Joy. Part of the problem, as I said, is that the message wasn't delivered correctly. The second part is Ashley had that girl waiting out there for 30 minutes. You had her waiting out there for 30 minutes and she was ready to talk to you. You said you weren't willing right now. So what? She's supposed to reach out first? No, you're the person who said that you didn't want to do it yet. So you're supposed to reach out when you're ready. Ashley's delusional. So Ashley ends up reaching out to her. I'll read what she said later on. Joy said, I figured that you needed some time. We can chat whenever you're ready. So Ashley's like, I still haven't heard from her. So Raina says, you just said that she said you all can chat whenever you're ready, which means you have to let her know when you're ready. That seems like common sense to me, but I just feel like Ashley at this point wants to have a problem. Ashley says she doesn't really see the point in doing it now because she doesn't like Clifton. She feels like he's always staring her down. He always looking at her like he wants to fight her. And I'm like, okay, Ashley, the same things that you're complaining and you're saying that Clifton does to you, you do the same thing when it comes to Clifton, to the point where you ball your face up as soon as he enters the room and you call him names like Sassy and a B. So why is it that you can do it, but he can't, even though I don't think he's doing some of the things that she's saying? That's the end of that. We see Jamie's meeting. Jamie has scheduled a meeting with the law enforcement counselor for his active duty and his retired friends. I'm struggling with this part of his story, not because I don't feel like it's true. I feel like every part of what they're saying is true. It just feels to me like Jamie is utilizing this opportunity to clean up his image. And you all correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm not trying to be insensitive to what he's saying. I think it's great that they're bringing awareness to this, but I don't see it as just him trying to be awareness. There's a lot of things that we saw in season 1 and 2 that Jamie needs to work on, and things that he's told us. But now that we know that he's in law enforcement, everything that he does and says is now being correlated or blamed on law enforcement, when I saw some things that is really you, that you need to work on yourself. And using law enforcement and the issues that you went through as a reason to how you belittle your son and you were trying to fight him in the hallway, that doesn't work for me. I have to call it like I see it. It doesn't. I don't like this story. I don't. I feel like it's true, but I don't want him to use that and bring in all these other people who have legitimate things going on to kind of excuse his behavior. It's just the way it came off to me. It's been 4 months since his retirement, and he's invited some of his fellow officers that have retired as well. He has a lieutenant, a sergeant for the homicide division, the assistant chief, and the mayor's detail, SRO, I think it said. The doctor points out the importance of getting counseling, not just when there's a problem, but before the problem arises. I agree with that, because there are things that they face that they need to talk about. Jamie says he's struggling with turning off the police switch when it comes to parenting. He talks about how a lot of times Raina will put things on him because he's the police officer and he needs to fix it. I think that there's a combination there. I think that it's not just because he's an officer. I think that she's putting it on him because in that instance, her son came to her about some things, and you as his father may have a bigger voice than his mother. Iron sharpens iron, and she wanted you as the father to be there for them. I feel like he uses him being an officer as an excuse, but that's not an excuse. She needs you to step up and help her, to be her helpmate, like you signed up for when you married her. He speaks about how both him and Raina were pushing off Jamie, saying that he wanted to self-harm on each other because she expected for Jamie to contact the counselor for him, and he expected for her to do it. And as I'm hearing this, I'm like, okay, you're sitting here talking about how y'all both pushed it off, but it just shows how much you didn't believe it or take it seriously, because if you did, it wouldn't have been something that you waited on. Y'all have the means to get him help. Get him help. And I hope that he's seeing somebody currently, because seeing that one session with that doctor and him giving him the number, I hope he's seeing him off camera. I don't feel like it needs to be something for us to see, but I hope that he's getting the help that he truly needs, because one session is not enough. He speaks, he says that little Jamie is doing better now. And the doctor encourages him to make sure that he still checks in on him. He says, because one thing that I've learned over time is the same way that officers will say that they're fine when they're not, that children do it as well. And that's a great point. The assistant chief woman, she's a woman, and she said that because of the things that they've seen and witnessed, that she decided that her job needed to be her main focus because she couldn't see herself having the career that she had and maintain a family. So she decided to not have children because she was more concerned about going up in the ranks. That is so humbling and sad to me, that this woman decided that she needed to come up in the ranks and that she couldn't do both. And I don't know if it's different for women in the police force than men. I don't know what her situation was. It just seems like, wow, you put your life on hold for this job. They all agree that going down certain streets brings back certain memories and that there's anxiety and hesitation. And I feel like, officer or not, those types of things, when you witness crime and things of that nature, it doesn't leave you. There's certain streets that I can go down where I may have witnessed something or may have seen something, and I can remember vividly from childhood what happened on that street. And I just feel like certain things don't leave with you. I'm sure that it's even more heightened when we're talking about people in law enforcement and even people in the military. Jamie says he even finds himself struggling with confrontation. Jamie then asks if anyone else finds himself taking drinks. I wish that the doctor stayed on this more, because I wonder why he asked that question unless it was something that he was struggling with. Now, Jamie tells us that he monitors his drinking in public, but in his house, he doesn't have alcohol issues. And I feel like, based on what I've seen in public a couple of times with your alcohol, that you don't know how to handle your alcohol as well as you do, which makes me wonder what you're like in the house, because I would think that you would be even more relaxed in the house. We didn't see instances of him in public all the time. And I just feel like the ones that we have seen, it's clear that he's not really paying attention to some of the things he does, because when he was trying to fight his son, he was drinking. He's just naturally out aggressive at times, and it makes me uncomfortable. But that's the end of that scene. Oh, he thanks everybody for coming. They thank him for coming. That's it. Joy is at home speaking to her event planner. She wanted to have her birthday outside at their home by the water, but it's too cold, especially to do her theme where she wanted to bring Trinidad to DC. So the venue has to change, and she wants to have good parking. So she wants her event planner to find something for her in the Maryland area. She speaks about who's getting invited with Clifton, and then the subject of Ashley comes up, and she said to her surprise, Ashley, I'm changing her name. Ashley did text her. This is what it says. Hey, Joy, I'm reaching out because I'm honestly surprised you haven't. Considering Arena said you were adamant about speaking last week when you rolled back to the Deep Creek house with them to talk to me over a week ago. So I decided to reach out. If you want to meet up soon, we can talk. Let me know. Ashley is very passive aggressive, even in that text message. Why even say all of that? I'm really surprised that you didn't reach out, considering you decided that you wanted to roll up at the house. All of that is not needed. All Ashley needed to do was reach out, but Ashley likes people to kiss her butt. Joy points out that she wasn't going to text because she was the one waiting outside for over 30 minutes. Clifton doesn't see what another conversation is going to do because at this point it's repetitive, and I kind of agree. Joy says at this point she doesn't know how to move because it's gone beyond them and gotten to the men. That Quick has an issue with Clifton, but everyone else who was in that event feel like Clifton did nothing wrong. They don't like that Quick isn't telling Ashley she's wrong. Clifton wishes her luck on the conversation. I feel like Ashley was wrong for running up to Clifton the way that she did. And I feel like even though Clifton wasn't being aggressive, if you leaned into her and she felt uncomfortable, whether it was joking or not, just acknowledge that you leaned into her and you're sorry that she felt uncomfortable. And that could have easily calmed this down a little bit, maybe, because Ashley's childish, so who knows? We see Ashley and Quick. Ashley is working on the recording of the audio version of her book, but she's struggling with recording this certain section about her mom. She's still bothered that her mother is not speaking with her, and that her mother has all this frustration with her, but she hasn't even read the book. So Ashley's hoping that she could read this and send it to her mother, and maybe her mother will listen to it. She's like, she's going around talking to everybody else but Ashley, saying that Ashley is lying and she won't even acknowledge her wrongs. This goes beyond the book. They need counseling individually first and then together, because there's issues there. We see Winter and Yusha. Winter is still upset about Yusha, who in real life, this is a spoiler, she's no longer with. They're done. They talk about Joy and how she agreed that she didn't feel safe, how Winter felt like Black's character was being attacked, and as a man and him being the friend, that she should have stuck up for him. Same old, same old. She brings up how she didn't know that Yusha contacted Joy. He said that, you know, he wasn't expecting it to make her feel, you know, some type of way, that he talked to her the day after the incident happened, and he told her that he's sorry that she didn't feel safe. Winter feels like she shouldn't have done that. He shouldn't have done that for her, and that he should be, instead of worried about providing safety for Joy, but providing safety for Winter, that he would have handled the situation if Winter were to be acting inappropriately in that situation, and he would have asked for Winter to be held to a higher standard. He admits that he would. So she feels like the same should be done. Y'all are arguing about a situation that doesn't even have anything to do with you all. So this is pointless. He says he just, you know, he wasn't trying to, you know, not make Winter feel protected. He just empathized with the situation with Joy. He says, I do expect you to, you know, act at a higher level. Winter says, if you continue to make me feel by myself, I'm going to be by myself. He says, after all of this, that's not what I want. I get what you're saying. You're basically saying that you want to feel protected and that you want to make sure that I'm riding with you. And she says yes, and that's the end of that scene. It's dumb, y'all. It's just dumb. Ashley and Joy meet up. Ashley claims she wants to clear the air and move forward, but she feels awkward. So she begins with, the last thing you said to me, Joy, was we were enemies, B. Then at the game, you said you don't trust me. She doesn't trust you, Ashley, because you told people about her being married and it wasn't supposed to get out. Ashley has turned this from Joy having a reason to being upset, to now Ashley acting like she has a reason to be upset, because Ashley has really made this about her. Because even when Joy and them went to the game, Joy went in there with good energy. So did Clifton. They spoke to you when they came in the box. You and Joy went outside to talk. You got nasty with Joy, told Joy that she needed to go. Joy said she wasn't leaving, and that turned into a whole thing that it didn't need to turn into. Joy says, there are things that we said to each other that we just shouldn't have said, that were hurtful, and it should have never happened. The words were hurtful. Joy says, trust can be broken, but it can be mended and earned. So this is Joy extending the olive branch. Ashley apologizes again for breaking her trust. And she said, I was pissed off. That's why I did it. Joy says, I received that and I apologize. And I would rather move forward and communicate how we feel rather than doing all of that. So Joy says, I genuinely F with you, Ashley. Ashley says, I can honestly say I do like you. Then she says, but with Clifton, that is your husband. And I don't know how we can move forward if my husband doesn't like your husband. Quick has an issue with your husband because I do. Joy says, Raina, Clifton, myself, and Jamie did not see what you're saying happen. What we saw is you being upset and angry to a level that I just don't understand. Ashley responds, many people have called me a bully and many people have called me a mean girl. I can spot a mean girl when I see one. And Clifton is a mean girl. That aura that he gives off is effing mean girl. Ashley. You can't call that girl's husband a mean girl and think that it's going to be okay. That's how they end the episode. What I'm going to say about this is I feel like one of the things that Carlos King needs to work on is his cast and the things that they disclose outside of the show. What's going on online is more entertaining than what is going on the show. Winter has done a show episode with Color Me Pink. I'm going to try to make sure that I remember to link the thing in the bio, where she has said that Yusha tried to be on Ready to Love. She has said that Yusha was interested in Joy. She has said that Yusha gave her fake, those glasses that he gave her were fake, that Yusha is not a Christian. Yusha is actually Muslim, that they broke up because she saw signs that he is broke, that this. She revealed a lot of things in that interview. And the fact that we're still going on with this and not discussing any of that makes me wonder what we're really doing. But I'm going to link Color Me Pink's stuff down here because I watch her from time to time and she is funny. She let Winter do more of the talking in the interview, but she does tell some slight spoilers here and there. So I'll put it down below. Let me know what you thought. Like, comment, and subscribe. And until next time.